Blessings. Hello. Welcome to SunnysideUp YouTube channel. This is the Human Design Insights with a sunny twist. And my name is Charlie. I am a 1-3 energy projector in human design. And as a 1, you already know that I dive deep into things, okay? I also have gate 48 activated. So your girl is all about depth. She's about details. Okay, she really gets into things. So I wanted to welcome you all and I wanted to share a little bit about what you can expect from this YouTube channel. I'm so excited to be here. I think for a long time I low-key wanted a channel for YouTube or like an outlet for YouTube, and I did not know what that was going to look like. Then a couple of weeks ago, I started to share the sun transits on TikTok. And as the sun was moving through different gates, I would share all about the gates from the traditional human design lens as well as the gene key lens. And I really enjoyed it. And not only did I enjoy it, I really learned a lot about the gates, the archetypes, the energies, the spectrum of consciousness that these archetypes reflect. And I decided that I wanted to start a YouTube channel, because not only do I want to share about the transits, I just want to share about human design. I have so much information, and I love the system so much because it has been just a gift in and of itself. So before I go there, let's back up a little. So for starters, I want to tell you how I got into human design, right? A couple of years ago, I was at a time in my life where I feel like the whole world was shut down. The whole world was shut down, and we were dealing with a lot of things as a collective. And I remember my inner God saying to me, you need to let go of how you believe the world works. And I was like, what? And it was like, you need to let go of how you believe the world works. Find security within yourself. And I had no idea what that meant. Like, what do you mean find security within myself? Like, what? And so I kind of let it go because I was like, clearly the message came, which means that I'll get clarity some other time. I end up in a class, and in the class, people were talking about the same thing, like this idea of finding security within themselves. And I was like, this is interesting. And from their lens, they were learning how to cook their own food, like how to grow their own food, and like really finding different ways to like feed their bodies and nourish themselves, and looking at nutrients from a different lens. So that was their way of finding security within themselves. So that passed, and then I was at the time looking for someone to run my Hello Eclectic Souls, which was my Etsy shop, Instagram page, because I was just like, I just wasn't into social media like that, and I would like come and go on social media. I was not consistent, but at the time, right, I believed that I needed to have a presence, and so I wanted someone else to deal with it. I definitely learned that I would still have to do a lot of work. So it was just like, okay, this isn't working either. But anywho, one of the people that ended up applying for the role, on their application, they put that they're human design type. And so when I spoke to them, I was like, OMG, like, what's this? And she was like, I don't really know. And so I was like, all right, no problem. So I ended up researching it later. And so after I researched it, I realized, one, I had seen it before. One of my friends, like a year or two before this, had introduced me to it, but I guess I wasn't really into it. And so I kind of like moved on. However, this time I delved deep. When I started looking at the system, I was like, I think this is what Spirit is talking about. Like, I need to connect back with myself. I need to remember my own truth. I need to stop living from a space of performative, right? Or trying to be correct or trying to be digestible for people, and figure out who I really am and show up as that, right? Like the same thing I preach, I need to practice, but at a new level. I feel like I've always tried to live authentically, but there was still some shadow work to do, and there's always going to be work, but I feel like, I was at a different level of consciousness back then. So I went on a journey with human design, and human design blew my mind. And this is the thing. So I consider myself an energy channeler. I have always been someone who can analyze energy, who understood energy. Even when I was little, I would know things about people, like underlying things. Like it was something about like the way people spoke and what they said. I could hear the message under it. I can see people insecurities, I can see their fears, and I can feel them. And so I had always thought I was like magical. I never told anyone. It was just something I knew, and I would be like, oh, I'm magical, you know? But I used to always pray to God, please don't let me take advantage of people. Please don't let me take advantage of what I know. Please don't let me take advantage of what I know. I'm like 19 praying this, okay? Please don't let me take advantage of what I know, right? I don't know what's going on, but please let me not take advantage of what I know. So life kind of like went on. I delved into the human design system. I started studying. I started taking courses. I got readings. But really, it was my self-studying that really helped me understand human design and understand myself. I see the human design system as a self-remembrance tool or self-awareness tool. I believe that by reading or looking at your human design chart or just human design generally, it will help you to like pay attention when you go out into the world to what aligns and what doesn't align, or not necessarily like what aligns, but it helps you focus your attention. So if you're somebody who does like candle work or candle magic and you're really into it, I see candle magic as a way to focus our intention. And I feel like human design does that same thing. It gives us something to focus on. It puts in our face some possibilities, and then it tells you, go out into the world and see if you notice this. Go out into the world and see if you see this. Go into the world and see how it expresses for you. I believe that we could be anywhere on the spectrum of the centers or the gates, okay? Anywhere on the spectrum as far as the expression goes. And I think that's what makes it so beautiful. It doesn't say you're just one way or this way or that way. It says that there's a spectrum of frequency, and you could be anywhere on it expressing it. And if you're in the shadow side of it, this is how it might look. If you're on the other side of it, this is how it, the embodiment side, this is how it might look. This is how the gift of it looks, right? Like, so I feel like it really does like show you the spectrum of energy, and that is something I resonate with. I really do look at life from a spectrum point of view. A lot of times I used to tell people at a different part of my journey is like, we're all like yelling and screaming about what everybody is doing, but the reality is a lot of us are doing very similar things. It just expressed differently. I saw this in my mom. My mom did not raise me, but when I got older, when I got to meet her and when I saw who she was and how she expressed, I realized like my mom manipulates, right? And I also have that gift too, to be able to be charming, to be able to manipulate, but I feel like you can use it for different reasons. And my mom had her ways of using it, like, and then I had my ways of using it, but nonetheless, it was the same energy just being expressed differently. And so when I came into human design, that's what I noticed too. Human design speaks of a natural process that is happening, right? Like I always was able to read other people's energy. And when I get into the human design system and I learn about it, I have a completely open solar, emotional solar plexus. I'm here to feel. I'm here to be aware of emotions. I'm here to understand the spectrum of emotions, right? Like, which is so exciting for me, being who I am now, because it also helps me with relationships, you know, and help me to be more intimate in my relationships and go deeper in my relationships, as long as I'm willing to be honest with myself. Um, and so human design have taught me so much. It is part of my everyday life, and that's what I hope to bring to this channel. I hope that we can look at human design from a lens of everyday life, that we can notice it in our ever waking day, and that it can help us to remember that we are all connected. Looking at compository charts where you get to see how you and another person's energy may express together, may align together. For me, that was such a beautiful thing because it was something I always knew. I always knew we influenced each other, but I didn't fully have the words or the ways to explain it. And human design gave me language. Human design gives me language for a process I knew was taking place and that is taking place. Just like breathing is a process that naturally happens, whether we are aware of it or not. You know, human design said the same thing about energy, right? This is a process that is naturally happening, whether we are aware of it or not. All of us is being influenced and affected by each other. When we get around each other, we create a new energy field. What is that energy field saying? What is happening? What are our energies doing? How is it dancing with each other? These are the kind of things I think about. I ask questions about. I stay curious about. I think another thing too is like, I feel like for myself that, and I'm trying to be mindful, like not to share too much of my journey and my story, mainly because I feel like throughout our time together, you will hear so many stories because I will be giving examples of like how it's showing up in my life. I also do a lot of experiments with human design, so I will be sharing that, and hopefully, like, we'll create a community here where we all get involved. Maybe we'll jump on a video together, maybe we'll do some spot readings together. Whatever this community becomes, I invite it. I stay with an open heart for it because I do enjoy human design, and I don't look at it as like it's telling me everything I need to know about myself. I don't let it dictate my life. I allow it to help be a reflection for me. I allow it to help it focus my energy, right? Like when I learned I was a projector and then I noticed how exhausted I was, right? It helped me to start paying more attention to where I was investing my energy. What was I doing with my energy? How was I spending my time, right? I used to think I needed more time. You know, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. The reality was I was mismanaging my time. I was mismanaging my energy. I was not being responsible with my energy. And so human design helped me notice a pattern. And once I noticed that pattern, I made new choices. And I think that that's the beautiful thing about human design. It doesn't tell you who you are. It gives you ideas of what might be happening for you, and you get to go out in the world and decide for yourself. Like, how does this resonate for me? There are times where, you know, people said things to me, especially I think the open emotional solar plex. I remember when I read about it and it said that, you know, you avoid confrontation. Like, you don't want to deal with confrontation. And so that's all it said. And so I'm a Leo sun, a Leo moon, and a Gemini rising, just to let you know. And my Mars is also in Leo. So, and my Venus is in Cancer. So just a couple of things to keep, right, to put out there. So I remember them saying, like, you know, you avoid confrontation. And at the time I was like, me? No, like, I'm okay with being uncomfortable. I'm okay with my voice shaking while I'm trying to tell you how I feel. Like, I'm cool with it. But I started to go out into the world and I started to pay attention to myself. And I noticed I do avoid confrontation. And this is what it looks like. And it's not, and then later on, I read more from human design and someone else, Lens, they mentioned that, you know, you don't want to deal with people, the overwhelming of people emotions. And that's really what it is for me. I avoid confrontation to avoid people emotional outbursts. I don't like the emotional high intensity, and so I would avoid it, and I would do that by walking on eggshells around people. So there were certain relationships I had in my life that I had created this habit of just not saying what I want to say, not saying what I mean, not being direct. And the reason why I wasn't being direct, because I believed, like, hey, if I say this, they're going to blow up. And I don't feel like trying to explain to them that I didn't mean it that way, or that wasn't what I meant, or it wasn't an attack on them. It was about me. That alone felt exhausting. The thought process of even having to deal with it felt exhausting. And so I had decided to avoid it, right? And so once I noticed that that was a pattern, I was like, oh shit. Because a couple of things that helped me realize. One, don't be so quick. This is for me. Don't be so quick to say that's not my truth. It may express differently than what is being explained in the moment, right? But there's going to be so many people who look at human design and have a different way of explaining human design from their own experience. And I think that's what's so beautiful about this system, is that we all build a different relationship. We all have a different lens, right? Different things matter to us than others. And so human design in that way has been such a gift to me, because it's helped me really just pay attention to my own patterns and helped me just to really feel grounded in my truth, and to know that, like, none of this is personal. Like, everyone is just really trying to manage themselves, right? And especially emotionally manage, right? A lot of times when people get triggered, they externally outburst, right? One thing that human design has been sharing with me and guiding me to is, like, take responsibility for your activations. Take responsibility for when you are feeling emotional. Take responsibility for your feelings, right? Instead of denying how you feel, be honest with yourself, right? Instead of saying you made me cry, recognize that I am crying because I feel a little hurt inside, and I feel hurt because. And just to be honest with ourselves and be honest with those around us, and we get to build this intimacy and this transparency in our relationships that really do just help dissolve this shadow side of us, right? The ego side of us that we may not be aware is operating, right? Because a lot of times our shadows are operating unconsciously, right? It's part of our pattern, part of our programming. So we don't always recognize and see where it's not actually healthy for us, because at some point it was helpful to us, probably, right? And so like there's all these things that human design reveals to us, and so I'm excited to explore with you all what that might look like. So I want to also share with you my lens with human design. As I mentioned earlier, I think that everybody has their own idea of looking at human design, what grabs their attention, what they pay attention to. I feel like right now for me, I'm obsessed with auras. And what this means and what this look like is like I like to one, pay attention to our aura type and our strategy. I believe like when you really sit, right? I have a logical brain, people. I'm very like logical when it comes to the mind's work. Um so I have a left. My arrow faces left. But anywho, let's focus. So when I look at human design, I tend to look at your aura type and your strategy. I think that it's always so interesting when I look at those two, that they do it for me. The strategies make sense because of the mechanics of the aura, right? Like a projector needed to wait for the invitation because that their aura is penetrating and focused, right, and goes deep into someone's G center. Like it gets to the truth of things, right? And like not everybody wants their truth right now. Not everybody is ready. And so like human design supports us as projectors by saying, hey, wait for the invitation. Wait for someone to invite you in to share your wisdom. Wait for someone to invite you in to share what you're seeing. Like, wait, wait for the invitation. And I've experienced what it's like when I don't wait, and I know why it's important to wait. And to also understand as a projector, you're here to be recognized and seen, right? So how are people going to see you, right, if you don't show up? And so there were just so many things that it helped me pay attention to and recognize and look. And like, you don't have to beg for invitations. They're going to come. And then the other side of that is that because you are a projector, right, there's some truths about your energetic makeup, right? So as a projector, you are not going to have a motor to the throat, and you're not going to have your sacral divined. So that's another thing, right? The way our energy is mechanics is set up, there's just certain things that we don't have access to, or we do have access to because of our aura type. And then when we look at the gates and the centers, that's all defined. Now we're talking about what are you, like me as a projector, what are you broadcasting to the world? What energy, what are people picking up in you, right? What are they recognizing in you? So my sun, conscious sun, is gate 31, right? It's about leadership. And so that is something that is naturally in me. That is something that is vibrating through me, right? So people are going to be able to see it, feel it, whether they know what it is or not, it's happening. And so when I think about, our definition, I'm thinking about what is your aura saying? What are people noticing? What are people picking up in you, right? And then we have openness in our aura. So there's some people we're just going to get attracted to, and we're going to feel attracted to. And sometimes we're going to not know why, but it's likely that they probably complete a channel for us, right? Or create definition for us, or and there's just so many things to look at. And I just love that about human design. I love just considering what else can be true, what are the possibilities, and just like thinking about our mechanics and our setup. And so that's the kind of things I like to look at. It's to look at the definition, to look at where your energy may have gaps, where it's not connecting, right, where there's some openness. So you can better understand, like, if you feel like, some people be like, oh, I have all these ideas, but I can't seem to manifest them. And then you look at their chart, you ain't got no connection there, or their open head, their open ajna does not connect to the throat, right? And so it makes sense why it's not as easy or simple for you to manifest these ideas you have, right? And so it's about finding ways to address that, right? Finding your own unique way to do things, because what may work for you may not work for another person because of the way they're made up. For me, I noticed something about myself. When I'm in a conversation, sometimes it takes for me to walk away from the conversation before I can process it, fully process it. Like, yeah, I might be listening and processing and talking to you in a moment, but the minute I go upstairs or wherever home is or wherever I'm alone, the minute I'm alone in my energy, so much information comes to me. And I feel like it's because my processing system, my ajna is not connected to like certain things within my chart. And so I wish I could remember exactly what I figured out. And I was just like, that makes sense. But I've already come to peace with the fact that, like, sometimes after I'm in an environment, I have to give myself time to process the information and to see what actually I feel and think and all the things. But having this awareness helps so much. Even with clients, when I'm doing one-on-ones with people, in order to get back in my energy, it takes about 20 minutes to an hour. So now I know that. So when I'm done with like readings and looking over people's charts, I know that I'm automatically going to need time to myself to recalibrate. Right? And so it's things like that, that these little tidbits of information we receive that helps just support our life to be more easeful, that supports us in being who we are, operating in who we are, and being able to be in the flow of life. Because now I'm not trying to be who you think I should be. I'm not trying to operate how you think I should operate. I'm allowing myself to go with the flow and to have awareness in the moment, so I can be like, all right, I need this, I want to go here, I want to do this, right? So it gives me some clarity and some guidance for myself. And so that is what Sunny Side Up is going to be. This is like a human design insights with a sunny twist. And the sunny twist is just my perspective, my personality, because I really do feel like I think every chart is a great chart. I just get excited because every chart is a great chart. There's something in your chart that is going to be make you that is going to be fun and exciting. When I first saw my younger sister, she's a Aquarius sun. I saw her chart and it was 8-1, so she had 8 defined centers. And one of the things I often say about her is like she's so full of herself, right? And when I say she's so full of herself, I mean that she has so much definition and she's so grounded in who she is. Like if you was to meet my sister, like like for me, she was a great teacher of like being who you are unapologetically. Like it doesn't matter who people think you should be or what you should be or what is right, what is wrong. You get to be your own moral barometer. I used to think people who like are fighters who don't have an issue with fighting, I'm like, no, you don't need to fight. Like, why? Just talk it out. And it's like, girl, everybody ate you, right? And I have learned to just appreciate people for who they are, where they are, right? Like, it's not for me to say what's right or wrong. I don't fucking know, right? Like, God clearly made you how you're made. There's a reason why you're made that way. There's a reason why you're designed that way. There's a reason why, you're being guided to do certain things. Listen, at the end of the day, our intentions are everything. And I believe that, like, when you come from your own intentions, when you come from a place of truth, it is what it is. That's between you and God, whatever unfolds from there. And so I want to celebrate human design. I want to support others who are experimenting with human design. I kind of like skipped over this, but I've been on my human design experiment for 4 years. So I started in 2020, the beginning of 2020. That's when I found the information, and I basically been doing it since. I have taken like a year off to just experiment, where I wasn't reading, wasn't learning anything else. I was just like going through life, and I learned so much just by journeying with the information and not doing anything with it besides paying attention. So yeah, so that's what's going on here. We are going to be here. We are going to be geeking out about human design. I'm going to be starting off. I'm going to be sharing the sun transits, and then I also have plans to do a series on aura types with the strategy. So I will do projector, manifestor, it won't be in that order. It'll be whatever order comes to me, however it comes to me. And we'll just sit and geek out and talk about it. Like, I want to just show up, right? I want to commit to showing up, and not so much in looking a certain way, but it feeling correct. And so I don't know. I want this to be a cozy space, like no pressure. I was already outside today. That's why I'm dressed. But like maybe sometimes I'll just show up presentable, but like, just comfy, cozy on the couch with the coffee, having a conversation. Like, who knows, But this is going to be our space. And I pray that you get what you need while you're here. If you have any questions, please ask. If you have any ideas on what we should do, please ask. If you have questions, leave them. One of the things I thought about is maybe when y'all leave questions, I'll do a video, like quick videos, like just put my phone up real quick, answer the question, and just post it, right? Like, let's just make this fun. Like, let's do whatever we want. Like, let's make this our thing, together. Let's create this. Like, I'm all about us being in this together, right? I always want somebody down with me. I'm so like, once I realized like we're all connected and I started seeing myself in everyone, it was just like, yeah, when I will say this, by the time I got to human design, I was already on my self-awareness journey. I was already in my remembrance journey consciously. I had already come to a lot of truths for myself. So starting out early in my journey, I was really big on the shadow work. Not shadow work. I was really big on the ego. So I used to teach a lot about ego. I used to talk a lot about the ego because once I learned about the ego, like it changed my world. And so I'm actually having a workshop coming up September 22nd on Dear Ego, and it'll be the foundational stuff about ego. I'll tell y'all more some other day. But yeah, so that's what's up. This is the welcome video. I wanted to say hello. I wanted to make sure I said something before I just jumped in. There's so much possibility here, and I want us to just stay open and see where this journey takes us. Like I said, I'm very open to y'all leaving questions and me being able to answer them on the spot. I also will be doing spot readings on social media soon, so look out for that. My social media page is LighttoLead, Light LIGHTTOLEAD, LighttoLead. And so you can find me there. I'm also Charlie's Truth _, so CharliesTruth_, and on TikTok I'm Charlie's Truth no underscore, and on Twitter Charlie's Truth. So y'all, let's keep in touch. I don't want to keep this going. I don't even think I'm gonna edit this or edit much of it. Who knows? But it's gonna be up. I love you all. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so excited for this journey, and I just wanted to get this thing started. So we are officially activated. This is SunnysideUp YouTube channel. This is Human Design Insights with a sunny twist. My name is Charlie, and I am your 1-3 projector. Thank y'all.